The Atlanta Braves take down the New York Yankees 7-3 in Game 1 because Ronald Acuña Jr. is the best player in baseball, and it's not particularly close. Let's talk about it.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, author of the Braves Today newsletter over at bravestoday.com. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That over there is CJ Nikowski's best friend, Jake Mastroianni, host of Locked On Braves. Follow him on social media at shorts.ball. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. A lot of great content come out of the All-Star break by Jake, whether it was the live mailbag today. CJ Nikowski joined the show yesterday with a lot of great conversations, so check that out. Jake, I want to talk about this 7-3 win by Atlanta over the New York Yankees. And it's Ronald Acuña Jr. is the player of the game despite only having one RBI. And it's because I think he showed how he can impact every single facet of the game, offense, defense, everything. He was just phenomenal tonight.
Yeah, we've been waiting. We've had very few nights this year where we're able to come in and talk about a 7-run game for the Atlanta Braves, and that should be the highlight. But that throw that he made is just absurd. It is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen on a baseball field. And look, I don't know the guy's name in second. I apologize, but he did not read the scouting report on Ronald in right field because he thought there's no way a throw is coming to third base. And for most people, that's not a throw. That's not even a question. But Ronald with that arm, you got to lead, so you can kind of try that a little bit. But just the fact he threw it from the right field corner and threw a dot to third base. Good tag by Nacho as well, who just kind of sold it, last minute, like catch tag. Just unbelievable. And as you said, not just that, but what he did on the offensive side too. He's not stealing a lot of bases, but you saw the hustle tonight. He kind of faked out Aaron Judge and was able to get to second on a double, another hustle triple in there. So he just does so many things. I talked about it in my top storylines for the second half. I just put Acuña on there. Like that was just one of the storylines. Like you have to watch Ronald Acuña Jr. You don't know what he's going to do next. But it's going to be something amazing. And so, just a lot of fun and a great reminder for Braves fans. Yeah, I know you're disappointed with this team. It might be a lost season. We'll see. But you still got to tune in every single night because Acuña is just going to do something special and you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, to kind of set the stage a little bit on that play for those of you who weren't necessarily watching at that point, Cody Bellinger's up to bat. Yorbit Vivas is at second. Trent Grisham's at first. And to Jake's point, the ball is kind of a lazy fly ball into the right field corner. I mean, catch probability is like 99%. Like this isn't a hard play to make, but Ronald catches it with his back to home plate, stops, turns, plants, and fires. So I'm guessing the initial look by Vivas was he sees Ronald catching it and not frantically getting it back in. And then Nacho Alvarez just plays it casual, right? He's just standing there watching Vivas come in, who's throttling down for the bag. And then last second, catch, tag. It's a geek by Ronald, an amazing throw, a really good deke and catch there at third base to get the out. And it's exploded across the internet. Like it is everywhere. You're going to see this on highlight videos the rest of the year. And we were talking before we got started in the show. Ronald has a really good highlight reel of plays from the outfield, not just this season, but in his career. This is probably one of, if not the best, simply because of how easy he made it look.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just the accuracy of it. I mean, again, I don't have the distance on this, but it's going to be far. I can tell you that. Yeah. And it's just the fact that it was on a dime to the point where Nacho could just kind of sit there and then just catch a tag because it's right on the bag. I mean, and you haven't seen it. You need to go and watch it 1,000 times like I have. And look, some idiot on a podcast keeps saying that Acuña is going to eventually have to go to DH, and that may happen. But man, it takes away some incredible plays that he makes in right field. I'm the idiot podcaster, by the way. It takes it takes away some just incredible things that he can do defensively with his arm, and he plays that right field wall. in Atlanta better than anybody. I mean, he's made so many incredible plays, including another one this year in the Mets series. It's just, we all talk about the fact he's not a great defender metrically, and we understand that he gets bad jumps, bad reads, and all of that, but he still just makes some incredible plays out there, and it's one of the best, if not the best, arm in all of baseball.
Yeah, my biggest regret on this whole thing is the MLB research tool that I was using to get these clips and everything doesn't have the distance of the throw, and it doesn't have the velocity. And so, like, I'm willing to bet it's probably a top 10 hardest throw from the outfield so far this season. But it's not just that. Like, this is a game. Atlanta puts up 3 runs in the first inning, and 3 runs in the third. Finished with 7 runs on 9 hits. One of those games where they hit 1 home run. Like, Atlanta has 1 3-run shot from Ozzie Albies, who there's an idiot podcaster on this show who's been talking about Ozzie's completely cooked and is probably going to have to get replaced next year. That idiot podcaster's me, so we're in the same boat. But Atlanta scores 3 runs in the first inning, and it's exactly what you were hoping when you changed the lineup. Jurickson Profar singles, Matt Olson doubles him in, Profar scores from first, Ronald doubles, Olsen scores from second. It's just, and then Ozzie hits a sac fly. Like, this is the offense we were hoping to get. And I know it's only 1 game, Jake. I know it was a bullpen game from the Yankees. If this is the Atlanta Braves team that you get in the second half, provided you can find some pitching, is there a reason to have any sort of hope?
It's just really hard without Chris Sale and without Schwellenbach. I mean, if those 2 were healthy, I'd feel much more confident. But it's not just this game either. I mean, they were good over the weekend in St. Louis too. Offensively, they were putting up enough runs that with a good pitching staff, they win a lot of games with that. They won 2 of them. But you're right. This is the offense that we've been looking for, that we've been wanting, and it's the offensive lineup we've been asking for about a month now, and you just hope it's not a month too late, because you finally are getting both catchers in the lineup. Both of them reach base twice tonight. I mean, they weren't necessarily big, major impact involved the run scoring, but they both got on base twice. They're doing good things. They're having good at bats. And we've called both of ourselves idiots, but both of us have also been asking to get both of these guys in the lineup for a month now. And you just hope it's not a month too late, that we couldn't have got some of this offensive production, this whole time. But it is very encouraging, like I said, when you combine this with the way they played in St. Louis and the runs that they scored there, that if we could finally see that offense get going, it really does hurt that now you're hopefully getting some of that, but now you're really weak in the starting rotation. And I'll also point out too, Yankees last minute had their starter scratched, and so kind of had to scramble. But Braves have, they haven't really scored off those pitchers. It didn't really matter who they've been throwing out against the Braves in the first half. They weren't scoring a ton either. But I did want to at least throw that caveat out there that they had a late scratch and had to go with the bullpen game.
Yeah, and to your point on the catchers, Sean Murphy, Drake Baldwin combined to go 3 for 7. They do score 2 runs, and they have an RBI combined. So, we saw this time Baldwin cleaning up and Murphy batting in the 5 hole. Some of that's just handedness kind of stuff, right? But Murphy behind the plate. Baldwin behind the plate, Murphy is DH. And hopefully we'll see more of that so we can get Drake Baldwin that Rookie of the Year award and get that draft pick with it. All right, when we come back, I want to talk about the pitching, because Spencer Strider quietly has hit almost 2023 levels of Spencer Strider dominance. We'll talk about that next, right here on the Braves Postcast. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. Because if you're already following the action, why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburn on the beach. I host MLB Game Night every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And one of the things we like to do is talk about the upcoming pitching matchups the next day. So when I see a particularly interesting matchup that I know I'm going to watch, I like to go in and make some decisions about how many strikeouts I think those pitchers are going to get. Or if I see a bad matchup, how many runs are going to be scored off of those pitchers. It makes me feel like I'm part of the action, and it just makes even regular season games between 2 teams I don't care about feel like a must-watch event. So if you're new to FanDuel, New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, so I kind of teased it there for a second. Spencer Strider, one of his best starts of the year. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks to 8 strikeouts. And I think when you look at, I guess, the body of work for him, in his last 7 starts, it's a 2.53 ERA with a 1.08 whip. And yes, you're missing starters. We just talked about that. But if you have this version of Spencer Strider, and you have Grant Holmes, who, yes, he leads the National League in walks, but outside of that, he's been a very good mid-rotation starter. You have those two guys in a weekend together. You feel like you have a chance to beat just about any team in baseball when Strider has been this good like he has in the last couple games.
And if this offense continues to score like they have over the last week or so. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely your 2 best starters. They're the starters that you feel pretty comfortable are going to give you a little bit of length and keep you in the ball game. And yeah, I think it is surprising. I don't know if that's the right word on Strider and just the success that he's had, because I still have people in the comments that are, Strider's awful. Strider's not getting it done. I'm like, I get it. Maybe he's not doing it in the dominant fashion that you're used to, but he's figured something out with what he has to be able to be effective. And like you said, even more than effective, a sub 3 ERA over the last month or so. So, I mean, he is, the velocity is not there. It's not overly dominant. Even tonight, I mean, it wasn't a completely dominant outing in terms of, stuff wise. He did have 17 whiffs in this one. That's a high number, 11 on that slider, but a 25% CSW percentage, I mean, isn't great, but this is a team in the Yankees that they don't chase a ton either. So they're normally just going to be swinging at pitches in the zone, and you got whiffs on that. So, I do think that's a point for him, but the fastball velocity wasn't anything, crazy. It's been what it's been all year, sitting around 96 miles an hour. But I just feel like the command's gotten better, which obviously takes a while when you're coming back from an injury like that. And I just think he's learning how to pitch with what he has, which again is still really good. It's still 96 with just a devastating slider. I mean, it's not like he's not working with anything out there. You look at that first at bat to Judge. He falls behind 3-1 and then just throws 2 perfect sliders down and away. A couple of big strikeouts against Judge tonight. But he just has that with that slider. It's just a trump card that he can go to. It's such a good pitch that he can go to and get swings and misses with it. So, yeah, he's been really good for a while now. To your point, I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on how good he actually has been over the last couple of months.
Yeah, and that slider was, I think, where I was going to go with that. Just what he did against Judge, who has been, let's be honest, the best hitter in baseball for about 2 years now. He is just absurd and can hit. Feels like he can hit almost anything. The Braves held Aaron Judge to a 1 hit and 3 strikeouts. Man's batting .354 after tonight. He has an OPS of 1188 after tonight, and Atlanta held him to a 1-for-4 night with a single and 3 strikeouts. And that's just kind of a sign of the Braves pitching staff as a whole, but Strider specifically. And I do think getting more working with that curveball, and he didn't hang. I think he had 1 curveball that was in the middle of the zone. The rest were all down or below and getting chased. And I think that's a big key for him. When you look at the bullpen usage, Aaron Bummer has a bit of a stumble in the 7th inning. They have to bring in Dylan Lee to bail him out. And I've started to feel this way during the course of the season as we've seen some of these weird timing of the pulling of relievers. I like that you ask Dylan Lee to come in and get out of that jam, and then he's done. They don't ask him to get the adrenaline up, rush out there, get out of it, and then sit and come back in. Is that it? Like, and I noticed Stitt's gotten better about that. Like, he likes to buy extra outs from these guys, but if you're the reliever that has to come in and bail out somebody else, you're done after that. And I feel like that's the right decision, and you saw it tonight with Dylan Lee.
Well, especially when it's as stressful of an outing as it was. I mean, he had to allowed a couple of base runners and then got the big strikeout of Aaron Judge to kind of end what was the biggest threat of the night for the Yankees, where, they're one swing away from being right back in that game with Judge at the plate there. So I just think with how stressful it was, definitely at that point, had he gone out and maybe got an easy 1, 2, 3, maybe you still let him face the top of the order. again, just because he is one of your better relievers. But yeah, I do agree. And I think this has just been a strategy for this year with Snitker. And I saw it all the way back in spring training where he's just done this thing where a reliever comes out and then you let him come out to face another batter or two the next inning. And I don't know that it's working out as well as he would have liked it to. So like you said, I'm fine coming in a fireman type of situation like that. You put out a fire, but then that needs to be it. And you hear relievers talk about it too, that just adrenaline is so high. You come into that situation and then you got to sit down and you're cold and then you got to go back out there. It can be kind of tough.
Yeah. Final thought on the pitching here. Raisel Iglesias, another scoreless ninth. This is something in the last 15 games, 13 2/3 innings. He's allowed 6 hits, 1 walk, no runs to 18 strikeouts. Do we think that Raisel Iglesias is back? Like back, a guy who will fetch you a legitimate asset at the deadline back? Because again, 15 consecutive scoreless outings right now with a grand total of 7 base runners.
Yeah, I mean, you can't obviously deny the results there. He still doesn't have that slider. And to me, he can't be fully back until that slider is something that he can just comfortably land to right-handed hitters. So for me, I can't say that, but hopefully for other teams, they believe it. And hopefully they're willing to pay for it. But definitely he's been much better. The command's been much better, getting able to locate that changeup down. So, yeah, I mean, certainly could work out for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah. All right. So again, Atlanta takes down the Yankees 7-3. Game 2 is tomorrow, and I'm really excited about what this is going to look like because this is Joey Wentz versus Will Warren. And we saw Wentz do that 3 innings of relief last weekend in St. Louis, using that cutter really, really well. That game's at 7:15 again at Truist Park. We'll be back with a live postcast after that. Are you as kind of Wentz curious as I am right now to see, is this a guy that could legitimately either him and Dane Dunning back to back be another starter and fill a spot in your rotation right now?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for anything. And, just a shameless plug too. CJ talked about it on the podcast the other day when I interviewed him, and he was high on Joey Wentz and wanting to see more of what he could do and intrigued by the performance that we saw from him last time out. So, yeah, I definitely would love to see it. Old friend Joey Wentz, can he come back and prove that old prospect hype? Again, Braves are looking for something. It's something positive on the pitching side to help them kind of piece this thing together. So I'd love to see Joey Wentz come around and do it.
Yeah, and I checked. He has no more options, but he does have 4 years of control after this. So if he works out, if you can get something into a long reliever, spot starter, whatever, swingman, you've got him for a couple years, and he should be pretty cheap for at least some of those. All right, this has been the Braves Postcast, Friday, July 18th. Again, Atlanta beats the New York Yankees 7-3. Do us a favor, if you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review. Echo some of CJ's comments about Jake on your Spotify review there. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to both Locked On Braves, Locked On Sports Atlanta as well. They're really ramping up the football coverage. Training camp starts soon for the Falcons. The Hawks are busy doing stuff in the offseason. So again, Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta. Subscribe to both. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live to talk about, hopefully, what is a great weekend in Truist Park for the Braves. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Lindsay Crosby. This has been the Braves Postcast.